Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are doing the full flower moon spirit messages for you. We're asking some questions to see what you're breaking through or what's blooming for you. And these have been separated. I've been guided to do them by the elements and to go by your sun sign. So this specific video is for the water babies, Pisces, Scorpio, and Cancer. So we all have all of the elements in all of our charts in different placements. I will link in the pinned comments below the different elements so you can look at your rising and your moon and all those different aspects. Sometimes I find it helpful to look at my sun astrologically, but also to look at my moon sign, the underpinning subconscious. You've got big freaking energy. This is a rebirth. This is intense. I feel like I need to spend a little bit of extra time on this. So I'm just going to dive in. I did write a couple of things ahead of time. I'm being told to separate this out into two aspects of the water babies. Some of you are going through tidal waves of amped up emotion, and others of you, you're harnessing something pretty freaking powerful. So I'm just gonna roll with the energetics of the first one. Water babies, what did I channel in right here? You're going through waves of emotions that provide epiphanies galore. It's like light moment, idea, understanding. There's that energy because of the tidal waves. What is happening is releasing your world. It's releasing and revealing your world. It's like a deep death and rebirth. I want to say that's huge. It's maybe I'm hearing you've gone through multiple dark nights of the souls or multiple emotional things, but this one's like a culmination of all of them. The residue of the last ones, a deeper understanding, a deeper layer, a deeper emotive response. There's just this deeper aspect of a death and rebirth. It's scorpionic energy is always death, right? But with every death, there is a rebirth, and that's what we're really in right now. The water flowing from your psychic abilities amplifies them. Like on a full moon, our intuitive abilities are usually off the charts or amplified anyways, because it's tapping into that moon energy and the emotive responses or the underlying currents of our lives, right? How we think, how we feel, what we do, why we do it. There's an underlying emotive response that's driving it. So the first section of these water babies, it's like the tidal waves. The first card, I wanted to pull cards for these before because I thought to myself, there's something about water babies that's very intense, and the cards reflect this. So the first card that came out was heat wave. This is like you laying down in the grass, in the desert with a heat wave. Like there's friction, there's emotions coming up, there's stuff just rolling. Maybe you have anger, maybe you have sadness. Borrowed time is what I'm hearing. Maybe you feel like you're on borrowed time. This card indicates that there is something ominous being illuminated by the flames that await you. So whatever's happening right now, whatever's been churning, whatever's been coming up, you're being asked to take back your power. You're being asked to stand in your truth. You're being asked to release pent-up emotions. And I feel like somebody on here, your throat chakra is blocked because you're blocking your emotions, because you're not allowing your emotions out. Therefore, you're blocking your throat chakra, therefore creating this tsunami within inside of you. This is a water baby, heat wave. Something ominous is being illuminated by this energy that's flowing through you for this section of the water babies. And here's the next card that flew out with it. Notice they're the same cards. They're all yellow and brown. Muddied water and yellow sun, personal power. This card is light worker. The transmutation of your shadow is needed when seeking the light that guides you. This is so important because notice she's laying down and the sun's just coming up there, or it's heat wave beating down on her. But in this card, she's dancing in it because she's actually dancing with the shadow. So what's stopping you from your sun, your joy? What emotional responses are coming up to be put to the side and cast off to be felt or expressed that you didn't? Because you can't transcend into a new experience if you haven't expressed, integrated, understood the original experience that's causing this. This is the water babies. This right here, the transmutation of shadow. This line is so poignant. I have to say it again, light workers. This is also a dual message. The transmutation of shadow is needed when you are seeking the light that guides you. If you do not do this, you can't dance in the sun and the light. If you're a light worker, where are you working your light? In the darkness. That's where you work it, right? I'm being referenced for somebody on here that's a card deck that you use or one that you know work your light is what I'm hearing. Oh, Rebecca Campbell, I think it is. I don't have any of her card decks, but That's a reference or a validation for somebody on here. Work your light means transmute your shadow. You cannot transmute a shadow if you do not acknowledge that it exists. You cannot heal a wound if you continue to pretend the wound is not there. You cannot stand in your personal power and shine your light if you are unwilling to get up from the darkness. And this is how it's working for you. And somebody on here, whatever's coming up for you is illuminating the story of my life. It's illuminating the story of your life, because you're going to transmute the shadow of whatever that is that keeps you laying in the desert, nothing working out for you, negative emotions. It's like this concept of it. Make sure you catch your breath. This was the last card. I pulled 3 cards. They actually flew out together. The last card is the Sun Wheel. If you're going to get off the karmic wheel and start creating your own world, you must acknowledge the shadow, see it clearly. That's what's coming up, and transmute it. Find your joy and get off the damn wheel of karma and transcend it. 4th dimension into the 5th dimension, which is your I am presence and power, which allows you to co-create your life rather than feeling like life is taking you, if that makes sense, or your emotions are taking you. This leads directly into the other section of the water babies. You're actually, I literally just threw this card, like, lose control, let those things out. So the other message that came through for the other aspect or the other group of water babies, you've already done all that. You've already looked at your shadow. You've already stood in your joy. You've already done those things. You're actually moving into the perfect segue of this, because you're beautiful, deep, emotive, watery. Oh, I love that energy. Clearing, cleansing, empathic, passionate. You're very deep. Perhaps you're very artsy. Everybody is slightly different, but you're actually harnessing a whole new level of you. Your emotions are no longer the driving factor of why you do what you do. You're coming into your intuitive abilities, coming online so amplified, your psychic abilities so amplified that they're now taking the driver's seat and becoming the driving factor, utilizing the emotions as information to sense accurately what's going on in your world or where you need to go, rather than you intuitively sensing things, but having your emotions taking over and dragging you to different places. You have mastered an aspect of the emotional realms or the emotional sacral subtle body that, how do I describe that? I'm going to pull a card. My daughter says, pull a card, darling, pull a card. It's all written in the cards. Sunset dinner. An invitation awaits you. Yell to the stars that you are ready to go. At the it's letting the sun set on the emotions ruling you. You're moving into allowing your intuition, which was already amplified, to be the guiding force and not allowing the residue or the emotions to bombard you. And that's like how you've been existing previously, very emotive. That's the driving factor. You're coming online to allowing the sun to set on that and utilizing those emotions, not to burden you or weigh you down or sense everybody's stuff, but to empower you, because your psychic abilities and your intuitive realms are going to take precedence. That's what I'm hearing. They take precedence over the emotions, and the emotions become the secondary factor, which provide the information necessarily to divine accurately. And I also wish to say, whoever that message is for, your emotions will no longer be used against you as a target or a weakness. It's not because you're no longer feeling emotions. It's because you're using them in the right order to empower you. So it's almost like if your emotion is your driving factor all the time, and your logic takes a back seat and your intuition takes a back seat and all these things, that means that your trauma, you get confused between trauma and intuition. You get confused between, do I make a decision based on my emotion from a wounded place, or do I make a decision logically with my heart and my mind together as one? You're moving from this state of the emotions being your rulership into a state of your intuitive realms, your mind and your emotions, all working together, propelling you into an entirely new timeline, trajectory, and embodiment. Whoever this message is for, you need to give yourself a pat on the back. You should be very, very proud, because emotions are guides. But for some of the water elements, and for those who are driven their energy by their driving factor of emotion, that can actually negatively impact us when that's the driving factor, without without consulting any of the other aspects of the self, if that makes sense. It can take you, it can drown you, it can take you down the river, it can burden your energy. Be very freaking proud because you're mastering, it's a level of mastery is what I am hearing. Your intuition becomes the guiding force, the lead, the main stage in how you operate in life in this new timeline after this full moon, revealing to you the full capabilities of you, that emotions are not burdens, nor are they to be repressed. They're meant to provide you with intuitive information as to why you do what you do, why people do what they do. And I feel my throat going here. So whoever this is, perhaps you've been dealing with a lot of people who are angry. Perhaps you have a water sign that's angry at you or doesn't like what you're saying. Emotions are our guides, actually pointing us not to just roll with all the emotions all the time and just keep flowing with it like the ocean, come and go and come and go, and never really get a footing. You're stepping into a motor modality where you're utilizing your emotions as a guide to allow your intuition to find where it's washing out your, I'm seeing, it's like every time you plant seeds previously, every time you planted seeds, your emotions got washed out or your emotions were used against you. Somebody energetic layering is coming in. Somebody tried to use emotions to trigger you as if that would put you off your game or take you back down into this state. This cannot be done when you have mastered your emotions, recognizing they're a guide to logically send you to what's been washing out all your roots and not being able to ground them. In this way, your emotions, the deep power of your emotions becomes your superpower because it's working in tandem with your logic. It's working in tandem with your mind and your body and spirit all at once. Whoever that is, be really freaking proud. And I feel like how that just came through was a confirmation or a validation for one of you of the dynamic that you're feeling or experiencing. Because it was like, as soon as I touched into that energy, I felt the energy that's coming at you, but bring it back to you. You're in control of you. What used to be your weakness is no longer a weakness because you dove deep into it. And this is how you only get the emotions needed rather than being flooded all the time. Your psychic and intuitive abilities are guiding you to use the logic working together to utilize the emotions to know when your soil needs water and when you need to let it dry out, when you need to remove somebody else's flood or tsunami. I'm hearing not my monkeys, not my circus. You kind of need to do that, especially those who use emotions to manipulate. So let the sun set on whatever that is, friends. This is something you will have intuitively already been coming to. This is your confirmation. Bullseye in the room. I feel like, could we make it any more obvious? That's a song that's playing for you. Let me know in the comments if it resonated. I thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thank you for watching these videos. Thank you for co-creating as we go along this journey, elevating into different timelines and a new embodiment of who we are in a state of self-empowerment. And of course, if you feel drawn to the other elemental readings, I'll link them in the pinned comments below. Go to the ones you are drawn to intuitively, and I will see you in the next video.